Okay, this is problem number 11 on the multiple choice, and it says, find the inverse of the function f of x equals logarithm of negative x plus 4 all minus 1. So we want to find the inverse function, and one thing to do here maybe would be to, instead of using f of x, which might be a little confusing because you might at some point think that you're multiplying the f times the x, I'm going to go ahead and designate a y. And I'm not going to put that in the final solution. It's just for me right now to do everything in a more clear manner, okay? So what I want to do here is either flip my x and my y right now and solve for my new y. So if I put y here and x here, I want to solve for my new y. Or I could solve for this x first and then at the end flip them. Same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and solve for the x first. So to do this problem, we need to know about the definition of the logarithm and being able to solve logs by raising the log to its adequate base and that kind of thing. And then we also need to know about inverses, which is what I basically explained, having to switch and solve for the other variables. So in this case, I'm going to solve for x. So the first thing I want to do is you want to leave the logarithm isolated on one side before you do any raising to any base or do any multiplication, anything like that. So I'm going to first add 1, which is the only thing that's on this side that's keeping it from being isolated. And then I'm going to add a 1 on this side as well. So basically this one gets cancelled and I get y plus 1 equals the logarithm of negative x plus 4. Okay? So now that there's nothing else to do here, there's no number in front of it, and there's nothing added to it, I could raise both sides to the 10th power. Because remember, the definition of a log is that if it doesn't have any base here, that means that automatically the base, its intrinsic base, which is 10. Okay? So if I want to get rid of the log, I need to raise it to the 10 to the log of 10 power, and so that these two can cancel. Okay? So here I'm going to raise both sides to the 10. So 10 raised to the log of negative x plus 4 on one side, and then 10 raised to the y plus 1 on the other side. So what's going to happen is that this log is going to go away with 10, and I get negative x plus 4 equals 10 to the y plus 1. And remember, so remember we're solving for x, and this is where things are going to get confusing because you have to remember what you did. Did I first put the y and the x, did I first flip them, or what am I solving for? So if I flipped them in the very beginning, I'm solving for y. If I didn't flip them, I'm solving for the x, which is what I did. So basically, remember that you're solving for x. So when you get here, you said, okay, fine, I got rid of the log part, and you forget what you're looking for. And that just happened to me. I said, what am I doing now? Why? So there's a y here, there's an x. Which one am I solving for? So remember, I went back and I said x. That's right. So I want to isolate x on one side is what that means. And whatever that gives me is my answer. So to isolate x, I'm going to take away this 4 here by subtracting it so that it cancels and I get negative x equals 10 to the y plus 1 power minus 4. And now I'm going to get rid of this negative by multiplying each side by negative 1. Multiply so that I get x equals, so I'm going to go ahead and distribute this negative 1 power to this one and to that one. So if I distribute it to the negative 4, it becomes positive 4. So I'm going to put the positive in the beginning just for the sake of it. It makes it look prettier. And then the negative 10y plus 1. So if we look at the answers, let's see if there's any of these. Answer D, actually they flipped it, so go figure. they said negative 10 to the y plus 1 plus 4. So you have to be able to recognize that it could be in any order, because it's, it's a multiple choice. So I recognize this to be the same as answer E. And actually one more thing was, if this was to be a free response, don't forget to say this isn't really x, this isn't really y. We have to rewrite it in what terms we want it to be. Because remember, we're looking for the inverse function. So let me just say, now is when I have to flip these two. So this one becomes y, which now is really my inverse, f of negative 1x. And then you have 4 minus 10, and this y really becomes x. So it's 10 to the x plus 1. So actually, this is the answer. Okay? I just went ahead, what I did here, I just went ahead and checked with the answers. In my head, I was thinking this is going to be a different variable, this is going to be a different variable than what I just wrote, but I just want to see if the format is here, just to see if I've gone through it the correct way. And then I go ahead and flip the x and the y, and write down that this is now the inverse f negative 1x, not f of x. So the answer is E. Okay?